Hello, my name is Conner Cunningham, and I'm with Gaming Trend, and today we're going to be doing a Dark Souls Remastered guide. This is going to be the first episode of a multi-part series, so be prepared. And let's get into the character creation. My name is going to be Luzinensis, because that's what I use for everything else, and I suck at spelling on PlayStation 4, so you're going to have to sit through this. And this is going to be a very boring time editing. I don't even know why I'm leaving this in, but I am. Now for sex, I'm just going to choose female. That's just me. For class, I'm going to do warrior, because warrior is the easiest to build off of, especially if it's your first time playing, because you can use a Zweihander without having to put anything into Dex. The gift is going to be the master key, so we don't have to buy it, and we're just going to do basic character creation stuff. And I tend to make pretty bland characters, and in Dark Souls they kind of look bad. But let's get into the journey and start playing right about now.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Thanks for that, Oscar. You're the best. Now, the Undead Asylum is pretty easy. You can read those for the controls. These guys will never attack, even if you attack them. This same dude is going to be up in the corner over here. But we want to go to the right. Go up that ladder that you'll see, and press the bonfire. Now, whenever we get to the bonfire, this is not to save the place in case we die, because we're not going to be fighting the demon if we play it this way. It's not worth fighting. It's simply not. And there's a few reasons. A, the weapon isn't that great. And B, unless you chose fire bombs as your gift, it's just going to be horrible. But let's get into this. You hear him stomping him around. Now to the left is going to be the door that you want to go through, and the boss will barely get in the arena before you can go through. Light this bonfire, don't rest at it, not really worth anything. Now don't get worried about getting hit by these arrows. They don't do enough damage, and for the most part, it's easy to just slaughter this dude. Now backstabbing him first, and then picking up the weapon, and giving him a few slaps, and then equipping your weapon is by far the easiest way to kill him, because right now, it's easy. Well, Fog Gate doesn't lead to the boss, so don't worry about that. Now Oscar's going to be behind that, and that's where you're going to get your first Estus Flask. Don't get steamrolled by that ball because it hurts.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission. But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask, an undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I would hate to harm you after, and thank you.
Bye, bro. You'll be in our hearts forever. Now, be forewarned, it's easy to hit walls right here, as you can see. I'm too lazy to thrust because I am. Now these guys coming up will be pretty easy, and the gameplay will show you exactly what to do. I don't think I really need to explain it. Just be warned, try not to get hit and stab. In those tight areas, try and stab as much as you can. And for the most part, these guys will drop like flies. Now that door requires the Western Undead Burg or Undead Asylum key. This is not that part of the game yet, but that's gotten in Firelink Shrine, so just be warned. And this guy will pretty easy. Now, right off the bat, I'll let the gameplay show you what to do, but don't get crushed under his thick self, and in general, stick to his right. Don't try to go to the left. That's that. With your starting weapon, your true starting weapon, it's just horrible. I tried it and I did it and it took like 25 minutes and it just don't. Now this will be some souls, which is always nice. And whenever you look over in that direction, that nest is for trading items. But I never use it simply. And this is where the journey truly begins.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Now that we're here at the Firelink Shrine, we can rest there, get 10 Estus, and that is something to keep in mind. This bonfire may not be active depending on the choices that you take throughout the game. Just be warned. Now what we're doing now is getting both a spear and the Zweihander. The Zweihander is what we're really after, but the spear is just an added bonus. Plus we'll get some souls up here, and at a spot down there there's extra souls. Now after we pick up those souls down there, I'm not going to talk, so you can focus on the spawn patterns, you could say, the revival patterns of the skeletons, because that's most important to not dying in this area. Now that we got it, all you gotta do is run like a madman. The thing to remember is the skeletons are not going to be fun to kill at this point in the game, and they do not return enough souls to even farm, so don't do that. That was a rookie mistake that I did, and I did it for like 3 or 4 playthroughs and wasted probably 4 hours each playthrough trying to grind levels. The Zweihander we have the minimum dex required to use it. That's why we did the warrior class. But do remember, you will want some extra strength, especially if you want to use it one-handed, which is debatable whether that's beneficial or not. Depends on your playstyle. Now with these guys, just before warned, that a-hole at the top who likes to drop fire bombs can get you killed real easy. Now, I always like to lure this guy down. If you have a weapon that one-shots the first guy, it doesn't really matter. But if you don't, he can end up coming up behind you and giving you a few slashes. There's some more souls up ahead, which are always great to keep and use later on for levels that don't even affect your stats. Now for these guys that are coming up, there's a couple of them, but they're not super hard to kill, so just be sure to take the one that comes up first and just bum rush them, really. That's all it really takes. Now this guy throws firebombs, so don't wait too long to kill him, and try and backstab him so he's done with one hit. Now that fog gate is not a boss fight. Promise. There's souls behind it. And there's also a guy that's going to come up. Now here the wyvern is going to come down. For the most part, if you're not running at full speed, you won't hit it, but it can hit you and do a lot of damage. Now these guys, you just gotta remember, keep your space, and for the most part in this area, probably gonna let the gameplay talk. Now one thing that we are gonna do, that you'll see, is buy firebombs. Behind that door is a wooden shield. Now the firebombs are gonna be used for bosses and just enemies in general, to make your life easier. And I'm not gonna rush at this bonfire now, because I'm too lazy to, and it wastes time. But talk to you in a minute. Let's see how this gameplay goes.
Thank you.
Now this time, we will stop by the bonfire, not really for any benefit, but it'll set my spawn location, because for the next boss I'm gonna show you what happens whenever you misread his moves and you try and keep what looks like enough space, but really isn't enough space in the long run. Now be forewarned, these guys throw that and you will get hit just like that. Now right here, again, bum rush, that's all you really gotta do. And the shield guy is not actually the problem here. It's always the first two axe guys, especially whenever you come through the next time. And at that point, I just run past them all. All you have to do is stick to the right side and then go through the door, and you're past it. These guys, same thing, bum rush. Third guy will start throwing firebombs at you. And the guys that are on the roof will continue to throw firebombs at you all the way into the boss arena. Because they're weird. Now the archer is also not worth killing. Now this resin is worth it. We're going to use it for the second attempt on the boss because it saves a lot of time. Let's see if I'm actually skilled enough for this. And I'm trash. How do I suck this back? You know, I'm giving up. Eat one. Eat it. Now this guy, it's not really worth because you'll stay blocked forever because he's a spear wielder. Now, I'm always a coward with this thing because I always screw it up and I never get out of the way fast enough. Now, if you go down the stairs in this tower, you'll meet Havel the Rock, if you have the Master Key. Havel is worth killing, but not at this stage. And if you get the Swihender and slightly heavier armors, he's worth killing then because it actually makes a difference for his ring. Now, up here are archers. Kill those like you would expect. This tends to give a lot of people trouble starting out because they don't think about going up the ladder. And so there's A, archers shooting at them and they think that they can't kill them. And B, for the boss, you're supposed to do drop attacks. It's arguable whether those are actually useful or not whenever you use firebombs. Well, let's get this started. Now, as we've seen so far, this is actually going pretty smoothly, but the inconsistent spacing is what's going to cause the downfall. Jump attacks are sometimes okay. I don't prefer to run past them most of the time. Once you learn the attack spacing, you're okay, but you're going to start to see what the inconsistent spacing actually causes for you, and that is your death. But what can you do? Part of Dark Souls is dying like a coward. But once we get back into the game, we're gonna equip that pine resin that we're putting on and that we got. And whenever we get back to that boss arena, we're gonna show him who's actually the boss. And we're back. Now this time, we're going to use the pine resin because it helps boost damage, but it also has one major benefit. And that is, you're rising above the plebs. It's really not needed, it just makes things faster if you want to do it this way. And there should be an earthquake in China right about there. And you can see that major damage difference. It's incredible. But if you really wanted to, you can fight this entire boss with fire bombs. And whenever you're good at it, it actually takes less time than spacing it like this. And the fire bombs, you essentially do the same thing. It's just whenever he attacks and your camera's facing him like that, you'll throw your fire bombs, as many as you can before he gets too close, and you run a little bit forward to keep repeating the process. And that's that. Boss is down. Now for the next boss, I'm not actually going to die, because I'm going to kindle a bonfire and I don't really want to waste the humanity. But keep in mind that that boss is actually harder. In this, you will never not get hit. So just run past them all, and you're still going to get hit. The first time, it doesn't do nearly as much damage. Why, I don't know. But it doesn't. Now, are you going to kick this ladder down? It's arguable whether you'll actually use it, but it's better than backtracking. And these two, one's a sword, one's a spear. Sword's always going to be annoying, but he's actually more aggressive on average than the rest of the spear bros normally are. Why? I don't know. It's being annoyance. But as you probably noticed, these guys are a lot tougher than the other ones. They'll still be killed with one firebomb, but it takes 3 hits or 2 power attacks, depending on your stacks, to kill them. Now, kill this first rat. That'll give you enough time to be able to escape around the other rats. And you're probably going to get hit like I'm probably going to. Yep, I got hit. Now, I heal here because poison sucks. And in this game, poison is kind of overpowered. And once you get up that ladder, be careful to not go up the first staircase that you're likely going to see. If you go up that staircase, you will regret your existence. There's a Black Knight at the top, and it's just not fun. Now these guys, just kill them. There's not much challenge. Don't go too far forward though, because you may have more friends than you want to deal with. Now, run past the board. You're likely gonna get hit, don't worry, it won't kill you. But, do be sure to run into that corridor right there, right off the bat, and heal as soon as you get inside. And don't chase that guy. he will lead you to being attacked, and it's not fair and it's not nice. Now I just try and kill this dude because I don't want him to come up behind me and make things worse. And I love it whenever they do that. It's an easy kill. There's not many of these guys, but they can do a lot of damage pretty quickly if you are caught unguard. And the only reason why I say that is because most people suspect shield. So whenever you're on your guard, you're shielding, you're gonna get hit by all of them probably. And the problem is, you're gonna run out of stamina and you're gonna be blocked from attacking or rolling or doing anything. And you're probably gonna die. Because that's Dark Souls. And if you're not trash like me, don't get stuck on the post. And ladders are the most fun thing in this game. 100% biggest challenge. Hardest boss. Now these guys, again, use fire bombs. Don't hit the post. Yep. And that's basically it. Now in this upper area, there's not actually anything. That thing on the rafters, not really worth grabbing in my personal opinion. But that's me. And again, you can see that there's nothing. Fog gate's not to your boss arena, so don't worry. And these guys coming up are Baldur Knights. The Rapier guys are nasty. They like to block, and they like to attack while still blocking because it's a Rapier. And they do a lot of damage. But they're still susceptible-ish to fire bombs. And that's the main way to kill them. Now their armor, if you want to grind it, is actually not a bad set. But that's debatable. Spear guy's not really worth killing, but might as well. He's a couple extra souls. Now to the left is going to be a Baldur Knight. To the right is going to be a Spear guy. Kill the Baldur Knight first. As you can see, it's a lot more aggressive, and it will be a lot harder to kill if it's close to you. Now a Spear guy is basically the average Spear guy. Down here with these three guys, it's basically the same thing. Now that corridor that you saw to the left goes into the chapel type deal that you'll go into next, after we see and light the bonfire near Andre. The reason why I don't go that way is because there's 3 Baldur Knights. And then you have a big old dude at the end of the corridor, and it's not very fun to go through without a weapon that does enough damage to them. But I'll shut up for now. There's really nothing to say. We will kindle this bonfire though. And that is the main reason why I am not going to show getting killed by the next boss. Because I don't really want to waste humanity like that. Especially early game. Because they can be used as emergency healing items if really needed. Now, one thing to keep in mind is we don't have any Titanites, so seeing Andre right now isn't actually worthwhile. But the big guy in the corridor, there's only going to be one of them, doesn't respawn until the next game cycle, will drop Titanite, which, arguably, I'm probably not going to use to boost the Zweihander's damage before the next boss, because I personally don't feel like it's worth it. Now, the Zweihander basically makes these guys into little tiny itty bitty baby shrimps. They're delicate and All it takes is one hit, just like that, one bite, to eat the tiny shrimp that you paid so much money for. But this guy has some issues that I have trouble predicting. He'll have a 2-hit smash, which is that. And I always end up doing that on his 2-hit smash. Now, the thing to remember, though, is with his Y-hander for your heavy attack, the second hit will almost always poise break him. Just how it works. Now, we're going to firebomb this guy because he's really annoying. It provides buffs for the other smaller guys up there, and they just become really annoying and they do a lot of damage. Now, this is a Firekeeper Soul. Use that to boost up how much your Estus heals. Arguably in this Dark Souls game, very useless. Like, they're almost worth more as humanities, but you need to keep them. And this is where this Y-hander benefits. If you ever get to the point to which this Y-hander one-shots them, if you don't take a separate path, then you can be pretty OP, because it really only actually takes +3 to +5 to one-shot them, depending on what strength you have. Now, these guys just throw fire bombs. Just burn them like the hot dog-looking things they are. And they will do a lot of damage really fast if you're not careful. Now, straight in front of us, that you saw that doorway probably, would have been a way to an NPC, a path to an NPC. If you visit him before ringing the first bell, it changes the story. I don't recommend doing that for your first playthrough, but that's me. You can do whatever you want, it's your choice. I also do summon Solaire for this, for one reason. He acts as meat shield. Once we're in here, we're about to start the cutscene. I'll shut up so you guys can watch. Now here, try and get behind it and cut off the tail as soon as possible. That is one way to die extremely fast, is to not cut its tail off. And with this Y-hander, attack it and be as aggressive as possible and get it dead before the second gargoyle shows up. Now, the main reason why you want to stay behind him is for one simple fact. That guy breathes fire, and if you're in front of him, it's really hard to actually avoid that one's fire while avoiding the attacks of the other one if you don't kill the other one fast enough. Now this one is easy to just fight with firebombs, because everything basically at this beginning stage can be killed fairly easily with firebombs. Now, that's basically it. And once we go through there, it's just going to be going to the top to hit the bells. And I'm going to edit that out for you guys. And now that we're back, all we gotta do is ring the bell. And that's basically it. We'll head back to Firelink after that. Now, that guy's kind of pointless to talk to right now. Just the simple fact of it. He's useful for resolving your sin. That's basically it. Now, we're also going to take the shortcut back to Firelink, which is just so much better. It's that perfect mix of being able to see enough, but not taking too long. Now, while you're going down this, there's two things. Don't walk off the edge, and this is where you'll end up jumping off, not right now, right in here, so you'll jump off, and you'll walk that bank, there's a path to the right, and you'll be able to jump onto a ledge and be able to go to the Asylum again. And now that we're back here at Firelink, this is the end of today's episode, and I'll see you guys next week. Enjoy your time playing Dark Souls. Bye-bye.